And welcome back to the 22nd episode of the Sports Coverage Podcast. My name is Andrew, and I'm alongside my co host Vince. As always, we've got a lot to talk about this week. We are deep into the NBA, NHL, and NCAA basketball. We have the national championship the day this episode comes out, and we are in the last week of the NFL season. We got a lot to talk about, so we're going to hop right into it with the NFL, and we are going to make some awards picks because pretty much all the guys who are going to be winning these awards are resting this week anyway, so stats aren't going to be kind of driven up as much, except for one guy that I definitely want to talk about on this list that I think might be winning an award here. But let's hop right into it. I think that there's going to be some controversial opinions here, especially from Vince, who loves a team that has a lot of potential for winning these awards. So, Vince, who do you got for the MVP of the National Football League?
Look, I know people would think I'd take Tyreek Hill, but I really do think Lamar Jackson is the guy that I really think he's the most valuable. And when we're talking about most valuable, he's the most valuable. He's carried this team to just greatness over the course of this season. So I just think that he's an easy lock for MVP.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, he has taken this team who maybe wasn't the most complete going into the season, just drafted Zay Flowers, who is one of the top wide receiver recruits. They got OBJ. They've kind of completed this team. They lost their big receiver, tight end Mark Andrews, midway through the season. But Lamar Jackson has always been that complete quarterback. He can run well, he can pass well, he makes good plays, and he just knows the situation. I agree. Most valuable player to a team like the Ravens, he is their main man. There's no doubt about it. He deserves the MVP. I definitely agree. So next, we have Offensive Rookie of the Year. Now, this is the start of the controversial ones, especially when it comes to polls and what reporters are thinking. And a lot of it comes down to, I think, a game that is still going on right now and a game that's happening tomorrow. I think this is the one that's still riding on things finishing out. But I think the two finalists for Offensive Rookie of the Year, and just let me know if there's someone else you want to add, but Puka Nakua and CJ Stroud. Would you agree that those are the two?
Yeah, but honestly, I just want to hint on something real quick. I think Anthony Richardson would be better than both of those guys. I'm just saying. We can talk
Well,
about that
yeah,
another time, but I'm just saying. I think he looked very strong at the
yeah.
beginning.
So right now, and we're going to talk about the Texans game a little bit later, but CJ Stroud is in the fourth quarter trying to get his team a playoff berth. If they win today, they're in, and it's 23-17 um, in favor of the Texans. He had a ridiculous touchdown on the first play of the game, like 75 yards or something like that. Great completion there. And Puka Nakua needs 30 something more yards to get the all time rookie receiving record, and that is going to happen in the Rams game tomorrow, hopefully. So there's kind of two big things going on. A first year QB leading his team, his terrible team from last year, to the postseason. And then you got a guy who just came out of absolutely nowhere, and he is the best rookie receiver in football. Vince, who do you have winning Offensive Rookie of the Year?
Look, I think for this run between these two, this is going to go for the ages. This is going to be when our kids are going to be talking about this one day. This is going to be one of the greatest offensive rookie of the years races of all time, and I truly think that Puka Nakua deserves this award more. I mean, in the beginning of the season, when they talked about who's the best rookie out there, everyone said Puka. Everyone picked him up on rosters for fantasy football. He's the most valuable rookie. He is the best rookie in this whole draft class, and I truly think he deserves this award. But again, with a guy like CJ Stroud leading his team to playoffs for the first time since Deshaun Watson is just great. He stands on business. And I really truly like CJ Stroud, but with a guy like Puka, coming out of nowhere, I think that personally, I think he's the right pick for this award.
Yeah. And, I think both of these guys are like comeback players. CJ dropped to number two. He
Yeah, but
was
wait, hold
like,
on.
there was, yeah.
Also, CJ Stroud got hurt. So that also leads to something, though. Does he deserve it? He got hurt. It's going to be a huge what if. Puka never missed really a game.
Right. Yeah.
He's only 30 yards away from an historic record. And look, 30 yards doesn't really seem like anything to him based off of what he's been doing in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and I think, like I was saying, they're both guys that kind of had something to prove. Puka, I didn't even really, a lot of people didn't really follow him in college. They didn't even like no, he was just this receiver for the Rams that came out of nowhere. He was a rookie this year, and he has been one of the best receivers in football and by far the best rookie receiver in the NFL. So having a season like that and being able to even compete for this record as a guy drafted in the fourth, fifth round, I don't exactly remember where he was drafted, but Puka Nakua deserves this record, and I got Puka for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, for sure.
So moving to Defensive Rookie of the Year, I think this is another one that can go a couple ways. Um, you have guys. Well, I'm not going to say my pick yet because I don't want to spoil anything, but I just want to hear who you have for this one, Vince.
Look, I've really been thinking about this one for a while, but I truly think it would have been Christian Gonzalez if he didn't get hurt. But with a
Yeah,
guy like Devin Witherspoon leading your team to such a historic, I just like when it comes to when we're talking about the cornerback position right now in football, Devin Witherspoon seems like the right guy. He was, drafted 6th, I think, by the Seahawks. He was a great pickup. I really truly think he's one of the best rookies out in this draft class, and I think he really deserves this award.
interesting. So I'm gonna go kind of a different um route. I'm gonna go to the Eagles' Jalen Carter, who
Ah,
I think he's kind of had a season out of nowhere where, I mean, obviously there were issues that he had in college that led him to be drafted later, but I think he's really proved himself as a great defensive tackle. And I mean, you're talking about he was compared to Will Anderson, his counterpart at Alabama while he was at Georgia. And it's kind of like Will Anderson, he's having a great year with the Texans, who may be playoff bound. I mean, this game is still going on, but I think that Jalen Carter just had something to prove, and I think he did. And I think if you look at how the Eagles' defensive line played differently this year to last year, I think that he definitely uh, is a front runner for this award, and I think that he might be able to win it. But I agree. I think that your pick is good as
look,
well.
I just think Devin Witherspoon's very strong. I think
Yeah,
he's like a strong pick for this award.
yeah. No, I definitely agree. I think there's a lot of strong picks, but I think that just naming these two doesn't really do the award justice. But yeah. So, offensive player of the year. This is another interesting one, but Vince,
I picked Lamar for MVP just because he looked like the stronger player in my opinion. And I know that, Tyreek Hill was so close to 2,000 yards, but when you take a look at what really happened, it was just he missed too many games to get to the award of 2000, to the milestone of 2,000. So I really do think that he won't get MVP, but I know he will get Offensive Player of the Year in my opinion.
yeah, I definitely agree. Tyreek, he's the man for this. I don't think there's really a question. Defensive player of the year. What about this one?
Look, it's really it's kind of hard, but I like TJ Watt though. I will say TJ Watt looks like he deserves this award. He looks like the strongest player out there on defense. And we take a look at what he did against the Ravens today. He just looks strong, strong, strong.
Unfortunately, he did get injured there, which was
Yeah,
not great. But
I don't know.
so I just kind of want to note two guys here. I don't really one of them I don't really think is the best pick for this, but Miles Garrett, I think that the Browns had proved so much this year. They've had a crazy season. I think Miles Garrett is the leader of that defense, and he's been really well, and he's been really, really good this year. And I just want to shout out Max Crosby for the Raiders, has had a ridiculous season. Every Raiders game I've watched, he's just been getting at the quarterback in every single play. So Max Crosby and Miles Garrett, just those two guys, I think have a chance at this award. Next one, this is going to be a very controversial award, not just kind of in general, comeback player of the year, because I think that there's multiple people who a lot of fans are like yelling at that should like win this award. So, Vince, who do you think comeback player of the year?
Honestly, I know this is this is a huge topic. I know people are saying, "Oh, it's Damar Hamlin, oh, it's Joe Flacco," but we're talking about meaningful, and we're talking about really played. Joe
Yeah,
Flacco deserves this, man. He
yeah,
deserves.
definitely.
He came out of nowhere. I don't really care about Damar Hamlin came back. Listen, I know it's a true underdog story. It was great that he came back to play football, but honestly, he doesn't really deserve to win this award because he didn't get to show his true ability. You know what I mean? Joe Flacco really did. So
Yeah.
truly think that Joe Flacco deserves this award.
And don't get me wrong, DeMar Hamlin needs to be recognized for what he was able to
Oh,
do.
for
Like he
sure.
was able to
Yeah,
come
yeah,
back
yeah,
on this field.
yeah.
But we're talking about guys that
Why? Oh, Joe Flacco
came back
deserves that.
from the couch, and played the best football made like in a long time. That this guy, this like 40-year-old man with kids, he was bringing them to school 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and now he is going to the playoffs with the Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco is the comeback player of the year.
For
That's
sure.
it. Coach of the year. I think this one's kind of a no-brainer, but
I think Kevin Stefanski deserves this. Bringing this Brown team to such a historic season, I truly think he deserves this. He's the favorite right now. Or it can go Dan Campbell either way, but I truly think
yeah,
Kevin
I was
Stefanski
gonna
deserves
say, Dan Campbell because
I really think Kevin Stefanski has built this team to a certain point where they can obviously, win this AFC division.
Yeah, no, I think both those are really good options, and if they could
Sure.
both win it, that would be nice. So tomorrow, you just told me that you're actually heading over to Hard Rock for this game. This is a huge game.
This might be
And
game of the year, honestly.
And if you don't know what we're talking about yet, Bills Dolphins, 8:20 p.m. Winner gets the AFC East. What is I don't even know what's going to happen with this game.
Look,
because the Bills have come back from kind of a slump in the middle of their season. Dolphins looked a little rocky against the Ravens, but they are still one of the best teams in football. This is crazy. Vince, you're a little biased, but let's hear what you have to say.
no, this isn't even biased. But look, the Bills beat us in Buffalo, and I know Buffalo is one of the hardest stadiums, states to, like cities to play in. It's a hard atmosphere, it's a hard environment. But look, Buffalo sucks in Miami. And when I mean sucks, they haven't really played good in Miami since maybe I was in 5th grade. And that was since elementary school. They are not good in Miami. And listen, I know it's a primetime game, but it's not going to be as hot. It's not really hot at night. But look, I'm telling you right now, this Dolphins team is going to come strong. We lost Bradley Chubb last week to a unfortunate injury to the Ravens. But look, I know this team has it in the bag. I know we can win. This Bills team is not as strong as what they once were. This Dolphins team just looks better, in my opinion. And I know for a fact, with all the controversy of Tyreek Hill's house burning down, this is just going to be motivation. I think that Tyreek Hill's going to ball. And listen, I know he might not get the 2,000 yards, but I know for hell sure we're winning this division, baby. Go Dolphins.
All right. That's an interesting take. And for my sake, I'm not going to say anything here, but I'm just going to say this is going to be a hell of a matchup. And this is just the Clash of the Titans. I'm so excited. And Vince,
especially a primetime game. This is a great pick of a primetime game for the last.
Well, I mean, this is kind of the only game that's actually
yeah.
You know what? Yeah. But Bills Dolphins, we'll see. Hope you have fun. Dalvin Cook has been signed to the Ravens practice squad after being placed on waivers by the Jets earlier this week. He was supposed to be that guy kind of while Breece Hall was hurt for a little bit there. And he did not do that. So all the best to him with the Ravens. And, the Ravens running back room is looking fun. And just real quick, the Houston Texans have pretty much just sealed their spot in the NFL playoffs. It was 4th and 1 for Indianapolis. They went for it. Pass incomplete from Gardner Minshew. And now Houston has the ball with the lead with 58 seconds left. And that is pretty much.
Yeah, they're just going to run out the clock. This is a good game. And this can honestly be a good pick still for CJ Stroud for rookie of the year.
So congratulations to the Houston Texans. We don't know where you came from, but you're in the playoffs. So good job. Moving on to the NCAA, this is really sad for me to talk about, but we'll start with the Sugar Bowl, where we perfectly got this one, I think. We said it was going to be a tight matchup, back and forth. Washington held off Texas.
Look, we said one of the best offensive games of the year, and when we meant this, we truly meant it. I mean, when we take a look at both of these offenses, their receiving cores, they're the best receiving cores in this playoff, without a doubt. And look, I just think Washington was the better team, and I said it all along. I knew they were going to win. But listen, I will say, I got a little scared at the end there on that last drive.
Oh, definitely.
Warriors drove them down the field, and I got scared for a second, but what a hell of a play. That last play of the game on that defensive side of the ball.
And
by
I mean,
far.
if you saw Michael Penix in the offense standing on the sidelines, like there was a field view that was going viral of them like watching the last play of the game. Like that was just absolutely insane. And
I mean, no one knew
congratulations.
what was going to happen because it was truly such a historic win for this franchise. And I know for a fact, watch out, they're winning, baby. Go Washington.
Yeah. Um, definitely go Washington because unfortunately, by the way, I just want to start off by saying these are the two best college football semifinal games we've seen in years. Like no matter who won either of these games, this
Yeah,
was a
I mean, I will say Georgia, Ohio State last.
okay. Well, yeah, that.
But
But I'm
it's
saying these two together,
yeah,
these
yeah.
two together. This is the best in a while. So unfortunately, Michigan won in OT. Um, that was sad because we really had it in the bag in the fourth, and then our defense fell apart. We fumbled like 3 snaps in the fourth quarter in OT, and that last play. I just want to say, by the way, just Nick Saban, the first thing he said in the press conference was, "I didn't make that play call." So I, I just don't know. QB
No,
rushed
look,
just straight
I
down
don't
the middle to
listen.
Michigan defensive line.
I don't think it was really Jalen Milrow's fault. I think it
Oh,
was
it
the
was not.
fault.
Well, because also
Blame
the
it all
snap
on the
was
center.
low, first
Look,
of all.
no, and that wasn't even that play alone. The whole game, he played like hell. The center, he put the quarterback into hell. Like that was really bad. Of just his. When you're a center in such a big game in a Rose Bowl game, you're not supposed to be doing that. And you play for one of the best franchises in college football history, and to be placing your quarterback in a situation like that is not good at all. So I truly think that's why they lost.
And if you look at Jalen Milrow when that last play happened where he hikes the ball, it's a low snap, and he's just looking around like, where am I supposed to go? Because literally, the Michigan defensive line is already caving in on him. He's got nowhere to go. His receivers aren't getting open because they lost one of their receivers on the last play because, like, ankle injury or something like that. His knee went backwards. I don't know.
Oh, that
But
was so bad. Oh, that
yeah,
was. Don't even remind me. That
but
was
but
a hell of an effort, though.
Jalen
That was,
Milrow, it's
yeah.
it's a hell of an effort because he's still trying to just dive through a pile of Michigan
Oh,
defenders, and I really
oh,
do feel
oh.
bad for Jalen Milrow, especially not even like I feel like even if you're not an Alabama fan, you should look at Jalen Milrow and say he put a ton of effort into this game
But look,
and
he has
really.
another year. He has another year at
Mhm.
this,
Oh yeah, of course,
college football world. And I know for a fact, I know people are saying that, oh, DJ Ugalagwe, who actually transferred to FSU, we'll probably talk about that another time.
yeah.
Obviously a great transfer and stuff. People are saying he's going to win the Heisman next year. Honestly, be surprised for Jalen Milrow. He's coming out of nowhere, baby.
Yeah, as long as he kind of plays this consistently throughout the season. And once again, I just want to say this was a crazy game, the Rose Bowl. And I think that the Rose Bowl is
Oh,
just
game of the year. Game of the
such a
year. I
great
don't know.
host. Yeah.
Forget Colorado at this point. Forget Colorado, Colorado State, Stanford, whatever. This was game of the year, honestly, because
Yeah.
when we talk about really in the rough, this was such a back and forth game, and I really think it deserves game of the year if there was such a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but all of this leads to the national championship today when this is posted. Washington versus Michigan. Well, I think we both know who we're rooting for here and who we think will
Go
will
Huskies.
walk away with this. Yeah, we got Michael Penix leading Washington versus uh the cheaters. We'll just go with that. Um,
Listen, I let me touch on this real quick. Michael Penix is a dog. I think
oh my god, yeah.
he is the real Heisman winner. I think he really truly deserved that award. And you take a look at what
Well,
he did.
okay, we're
No,
talking
no, no.
about if we're looking at him now, we're talking about deserving it. Yes,
But
but
look,
like, yeah,
bringing this team to such a glory after just a year after coming, like he came last year, but man, he came out of nowhere this season. And look at what he's doing for this this Washington Huskies team. It's just great and magical. But listen, I will say Michigan has some dogs, man. Their defense is good, and they have Blake Corum, who is strong. He's a really good running back, and I truly think
yeah.
he won Michigan the game in that
Oh,
Alabama game.
definitely.
But
Yeah,
look,
that touchdown. Yeah.
I think that touchdown really just led them to the victory. But look, this Washington
Well,
team is just stronger. They're better. And
that touchdown where they started on the 25-yard line and then
look,
just yeah.
but look, I really think that Washington deserves this. They came from such a long way, and look, so does Michigan. They did really bad in the 2021 season and all around that. No, not 2021, 2020 season around COVID, and so I just think that Washington deserves this, baby. Go
Yeah,
Huskies.
definitely. Yeah, go Huskies, and we'll see what happens. Talk about it next week. So be ready for our reactions, whether good or bad. Um, just quickly in the NBA, I just want to talk about the Knicks, who have very much been on the rise. They made that big trade last week, and then they beat the 76ers this week. With, by the way, everyone playing Maxey and Bede, all those guys were in 128-92 and are currently in the fourth seed in the East. So they're definitely on the rise, and it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the season plays out. But Vince, have you noticed anything about the Knicks, or do you think that they're going to go far at all?
Well, we said I said they were fakers. I truly have I truly didn't think they were going to be this good. But look, when they got OG Anunoby last week, I honestly I kind of like the move. He's fit in right away, and I know they lost two guys that were pretty sentimental to the team. But look, OG Anunoby slipped in right into this team, and he's done great, phenomenal work for this Knickerbocker team. So I truly think that I think that this team can go farther in playoff wise. But again, I want to touch on something. The 76ers, what a bad loss.
Yeah,
And I said this when they were losing James Harden, this was gonna happen. All along I knew it.
yeah, we'll see. It's gonna.
Listen, I think it's gonna be a hard road from them. But even the Heat did it last year with an 8 seed. I think that the Knicks have a shot, but I don't know if they have such a shot because the East is pretty strong.
Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
I
the
definitely agree.
Celtics,
They, of course, the East is strong, and like the one, I mean, the Knicks already have taken down Milwaukee earlier this year, so the one kind of big foe they have left to prove themselves against is the Celtics, and they will be playing them soon. So we'll see what happens. Um, and just real quick, touching on the Lakers, they've lost four in a row, and as it stands, are not in a playoff spot. I know that doesn't really matter at this point in the season, but they're 11th in the West, which is not great. And LeBron James said, "quote We just suck right now."
and let me say something real quick. Last Wednesday, Jaime Jaquez Jr. balled out, Triple J baby, with the Heat on that Wednesday night game in LA. Actually, he balled out, baby. He looked like the rookie of the year, and I know we can have this discussion another time, but I'm telling you right now, he is the rookie of the year.
All right, we'll see. We'll talk about NBA
Yeah, he
awards.
won
We'll do
rookie of the
briefly.
month. So look,
Yeah, yeah,
I will say that was a strong game
yeah.
against the Spurs. I mean, the Spurs against Bucks. That was a nail
Yeah.
biter game. I don't know if you watched that, but
I,
but no, look,
real
it was a strong game. We'll talk about that another time.
real quick in men's college basketball, Seton Hall once again upsets a top 10 team in number 7 Marquette after beating UConn earlier this season. And Marquette had a costly turnover towards the end of the game, and that led to Seton Hall winning. Crazy game. And yeah, Seton Hall coming out of nowhere. And I'm excited to see them in March Madness because if they're making these types of upsets in the regular season, I'm excited to see what they're going to do.
Yeah, for sure. I like their coach though. Their coach is good. I will say. I mean, he came
Yeah.
from St. Peters, I think. And actually, I don't know if you remember Jaden, his
Mm-hmm.
grandson or something, went to SBC. But yeah, no, I
Yeah.
really like the Seton Hall team, and I think we can definitely see a big run for them in March Madness this year.
Yeah. I'm really excited. And then another upset from today, Charlotte upset FAU, who we talked about a lot earlier in the season, 70-68. Interesting game. And real quick, I'm wearing a Princeton sweatshirt right now. I went to one of their games today. You know, they made Sweet 16 last year, but I want to shout out Xavier Lee, who is having a breakout sophomore year, and he dropped a career high 30 or 33 points today or something like that. And he was just so good against Harvard. And he's such a good all around player. He was dropping threes towards the end of the game. He can just power through an entire Harvard team. But moving on to the MLB, couple signings, couple trades. Mets have signed Harrison Bader to a 1 year deal. And as a Yankees fan, a little bittersweet because it's kind of like shooting ourselves in the foot. We don't know how well he's going to play, but we gave him up in August in favor of Jason Dominguez in September. And Harrison Bader had an interesting time then with his new team in the Cincinnati Reds, and now he is headed crosstown to the Mets. And he is getting pretty lucky because he grew up in the Bronx. This is his hometown. He got to play with the Yankees, and now he's with the Mets. So he's kind of staying local.
And look, talking about getting lucky and stuff, he's reuniting with one of his college teammates at Florida, baby. Go Gators. He's reuniting with Pete Alonso, which, look, I really like the chemistry between both these guys. They both tweeted out on Instagram or something like that about how happy they were to play with each other again. And I think chemistry like that, they really need it with the Mets team that is really going through struggles in recent history. So I really like this move, and I think Harrison Bader is going to be a really good outfielder and possibly maybe even all time for this Mets team. Just
And
watch.
we get to see the hair grow out again, so
Oh
good for
yeah,
him.
let's go.
The Mariners have traded former Cy Young winner Robbie Ray to the Giants for former Mariners player. He was there for a long time, Mitch Haniger and pitcher Anthony DeSclafani. So this trade kind of came out of nowhere because no one really knew that this was in the works. But Robbie Ray has always been a consistent pitcher for the Mariners there, and saying Mitch Haniger returning, I think, is a really good move for the Mariners. So I think that this was a pretty even trade, and I think the Giants are secretly like creating a super team. They made that big free agent signing earlier in the year, and now they've got Robbie Ray to bolster their bullpen. But remember, or their starting pitching rotation. But remember, Jock Peterson, kind of their big guy from the last couple of years, is a free agent right now, so they're kind of having to make some moves to build a new team around
This
other
is
guys.
definitely a sneaky trade, I will say. It kind of came out of nowhere. And look, you get a Cy Young winner, a former Cy Young winner for a guy like Mitch Haniger and Anthony DeSclafani, which I really think was such a big move for a Giants team that is trying to look for bigger, destined things. Obviously, not getting some guys they wanted, but look, I really like this move.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And just real quick, we've talked about this guy kind of just periodically over the last couple weeks. Blake Snell is still out there, and he's the backup plan for all of the Yamamoto lovers who kind of wanted to sign him. So Blake Snell, he said he is interested in the Yankees. The Yankees said they're interested in him. Blake Snell. And by the way, this would be something that hasn't happened in a long time, where if we signed Blake Snell, the Yankees would have both the NL Cy Young winner and the AL Cy Young winner on the same team the year after they both won, in Garrett Cole and Blake Snell. So, Blake, please, we would love to have you in New York. And I think Brian Cashman, you got to figure this out because we need him. And Jordan Montgomery, he's going back to the Rangers. So please,
Oh yeah,
Cashman, figure
we
this
said
out.
that a while ago. We said that he was going back to the Rangers, but
Yeah.
look,
But yeah,
Blake Snell, he will be the guy for the Yankees in the future. And you can already just tell. You can tell it's going to happen, but you have to trust the process. Because look, this Yankees team they're very confusing when it comes to signing the guy.
oh yeah,
Look, and they like to take their sweet damn time. And I think it's going to take some time to get Blake Snell up for a guy like, a Cy Young winner. Let's not forget. So I think it's going to take some time. But look, I definitely think that Blake Snell he could definitely be another Cy Young winner in the future. But again,
yeah,
I think the Yankees will get him.
yeah. I agree. And just once again, Brian Cashman, offer the money. We were saving a lot of money for Yamamoto, and that didn't work out. We have $7 billion. Do something with it. Thank you. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Um, now, as we end off every episode, we have the fast fact. NHL. I was gonna just put this in an NHL segment, but I think that it works better here in the fast fact. We've talked about him periodically. He's been ridiculously good, but unfortunately, well, you'll just see. NHL rookie Connor Bedard becomes the youngest player ever to be selected to the NHL All-Star Game at age 18, but unfortunately will be out for a while after suffering a fractured jaw from a hard hit from Brendan Smith in the Blackhawks game versus the Devils. And he just went off the ice, took it like a champ, like a hockey player should, and just didn't return in that game. And it came out today that he has a fractured jaw. So we wish him the best in his recovery, and congratulations on the NHL All-Star selection. We were talking about the NHL All-Star game earlier in the year, how it's one of the better ones in professional sports where it's not completely stupid like the Pro Bowl, but it's still got something going.
I still got something. We'll definitely speak on that for sure. But again, Connor Bedard is a guy that I really like, and I really like this move, for an All-Star game because he deserves it. I mean, I know he's 18, but look at what he's done this season alone for his rookie season is just great, and I think he's definitely gonna have a good future in the coming.
Yeah, I'm really excited. So that's pretty much going to do it for the 22nd episode of the Sports Coverage Podcast. My name is Andrew, and I'm alongside my co-host Vince. Check out clips on Instagram, which are going to be posted sporadically throughout the week.
Yeah.
And yeah, so thank you everyone so much for listening, and we will see you next week.